Do you ever feel a little out of place here on planet Earth and, a little different than other people? Well, you might be an old soul, and I'm going to give you 10 ways to consider that this might be your experience. 10 experiences that I've actually had. Now, this is all speculation. There's not any way to prove any of this to say, yes, there are old souls and young souls, and I can prove it. I'm like, no, this is all, we're working with the realm of within metaphysics, and we're working with the inner realm of who we are, which is more mystical and actually just an emotional based experience more than something we can logically line up and say, yeah, we can test and prove and create theories out of these things. But many of us have had these signs and these experiences, and why even talk about this? Well, because quite often we'll judge ourselves to be, when we feel different, when we feel and experience this world differently than others, too often that can become projected on ourselves as a judgment that we're flawed. We're the weird one. We're the off one. Everyone else has a pretty common experience. They're all relatable on some level, and I don't feel I connect or relate. I feel like kind of here's people, and I'm on the outside observing all this. And so what it does is help just bring some peace of mind to considerations. So these are all considerations that do help your thinking, rational mind just kind of chill out and say, well, it's possible. I could be an old soul, which makes my experience here embodied on planet Earth a little different than other people that may not be an old soul. So use this in a practical way, although there's not a practical way to prove this. Use it for practical reasons to just reassure yourself that you're fine. And there's a purpose in this, if this rings true for you. So let's look at these 10 signs. Number 1, you feel you don't belong here and you have a sense of alone. Not lonely, but a sense of being alone and not understood. And you're able to relate kind of superficially, and you pretend that you're relating to other people's experience because we have a need to fit in and have rapport with other people. But deep inside of you, you just feel like, that's not my experience. I don't relate to that, and I feel very different. And that could have started in your childhood. And that can then move into feeling like you're a black sheep in your family. You're different than your other family members. And we use the reference to waking up, becoming conscious, becoming aware. This process of coming into awareness of truth. Rather than life living us, we are awake in our life. And as you experience that through a progressive manner, you may look back on your childhood and go, it's like I knew something. I didn't know what I knew, but I knew something that made me different than my other family members. And you may be the solo person in your family that's pursued a seeker of truth, pursued healing, pursued awareness, and being a more mindful, conscious human being, where you may be with other family members that still speak in victim speech and play out their lives in a sense of powerlessness, that the power is outside of them. And that's a real distinct factor that you learned more quickly, enrolled yourself earlier in life in this waking up process. The third one is you are more of an observer of life. Rather than engaging in the drama and the material experience, wanting material things for the sake of having a lot of stuff, you're not drawn to that. You're not materialistic. You're more interested in experiencing life. So you might own material things. We own a boat, we own mountain bikes, we own different things because we want to seek the experience of it. We love the experience of this mortal realm rather than just owning a lot of stuff coming from a place of ego. And so you observe life and you're able to be an observer of life rather than being drawn into all the drama of life. And now the next one, the drama, you might get frustrated with the human drama and go, oh my gosh, would people just grow up emotionally and just understand we're going through a major energy shift? I'm speaking out loud right now for myself because when this whole thing hit in 2020, and I knew that there were other higher value reasons why we're going through what is referenced as a pandemic, it is provoking old primal fears to come up from the root chakra. This sort of like, I'm going to die kind of fear. Something outside of me is going to kill me and I'm powerless to it. Well, that lasted. I look back and I think I remember feeling that mid-March. By the end of March, I had moved through that energy, and I was grateful for that because all the healing work I've done over the last 30 years, it wasn't like this thing that stretched out the entire year. But then I was in a place of frustration going, oh man, now I have to live on a planet where so many other people are in fear. I'm so grateful for the Tuttle Healing Center. It's this sacred place on the internet for those of us that want to connect with other like-minded people that are choosing awareness and accountability and saying, I choose to live in joy in spite of all of this. And that's a place on the private Facebook group that we're able to join together and support each other. There's thousands that have moved through that Facebook group that have been participating in creating that, which I'm so thankful for. Who knew that would be so valuable for what was coming? And so you just can get frustrated with the fact that there's all these energies that we're experiencing, and if we don't have the emotional wellness, that energy will trigger this old emotional wounding, and then people act out. They act out in their behavior because they're not mindful of going, I can see that I'm going through an energy shift and I need to manage it in a way that I'm civil and I'm respectful to myself and others, and I cannot let this energy get the best of me, because you're emotionally aware of the bigger experience. So frustrated with the human drama can be a sign that you're an old soul going, okay, could everyone just wake up a little faster? The next one, you feel like you have a mission here. Maybe you're in that mission, and that mission doesn't always have to look like my kind of mission, that I'm an influencer of many people. I know I felt that when I was 25. I did not know how, but I strongly remember a prompting, an impression coming over me, a full body experience of saying, at some point you will be well known, and you'll be well known in a manner of influencing others in a positive way. The internet didn't even exist then. We're talking, well, I was born in 57, so, early 90s. And I knew, and I allowed that to unfold and to be guided. You may be in that place, you're in some place on that path of your mission. I know the Healing Center, the Tuttle Healing Center, can help you get yourself aligned and open the space and the energy of that mission to happen more rapidly if you're feeling stuck or frustrated. Strong empathic abilities. I want to do a video on 10 signs you know you're an empath, because an empath is someone that's very tuned in. And rather than teach all of you that here, those of you that are familiar with empathic abilities, you read energy, you're aware of other people's energy, their emotion, you might even read people's thoughts. You have this psychic ability in a sense, and you have the understanding, and you're learning how to work with energy, to work within the energy realm as an empath to shift consciousness and shift the reality for the better. The next one is you're drawn to healing, and you may have been drawn to it very early in your life, and you're drawn to seeking truth. So the kind of books you read are always about self-help or healing or more mystical topics or topics of chakras. You've been a reader and a consumer of mine, because I tap into more metaphysical topics here and healing, and that's been something you've been drawn to and you're a seeker of. And you don't often share. This is the next one. You don't share what you know quite often because you're aware that others would judge you as kind of wacko and go, well, she's just crazy. I don't share everything here, though, of everything I experience. And you're discerning in that of who you can share. I know who I can share certain things with and who it's best not sharing. I don't feel shut down. It's a choice. It's a discerning choice to say, I'd prefer not to be judged that way, because based on their level of awareness, that's going to be their perception of me. So your empathic abilities actually give you that gift of discernment to go, this is someone I can share more with, and you know when not to share because of the judgment you might incur from someone else. And then you've always been very spiritual. Now you can be spiritual / and religious. Those can go hand in hand, but spiritual is more you're a seeker of those truths, and you've had this sense of connecting with a divine power. And you may have experienced that within a religious construct of saying that there's a God. And if you're a Christian, it's within the connection of being connected strongly with Christ, a Savior. If you have a non-religious construct of your spirituality, it could be happening with your connection in nature. You know, there's various ways for spirituality to be experienced, but it's an inner spirituality where you feel these strong connections and guidance, and you feel you're given guidance and you're given direction and you're being watched over. And that's been very much a present experience for you all of your life. And I think we got all 10 there. I lose track often of my what number I'm on. Yeah, I think that's it. No, I think there's one more. You may feel out of place. That was it. This is the last one. This is number 10. You may feel out of place. You don't have a lot of the common interest of your peers. You might feel that the things that they talk about, the things that are shared, the things they give attention to and it's not a judgmental way to think, oh, they're so superficial. You just don't relate. It's not relatable to you. You're you're a person with more depth in your spirituality, so that there's just not a attention much to that kind of sharing, like chit chat, going to lunch with friends and chit-chatting, and you prefer to speak in the affirmative. And so often so many people speak in the negative, and you know you're a creator and you want to keep things on the affirmative side of creation. You know, you want to create what you want, not what you don't want, by giving so much attention to it. And so as a byproduct of that, you have a small group of friends, and they're probably more spiritual people too. Maybe they're old souls. You know, I can name some key people that I have strong ties with that I've known for decades that I would consider within this. If this exists, if this is a thing, we would all be in this category. So it's something fun to speculate. Which of these did you relate to? Share in a comment the ones that really stood out. Yes, I have that experience. Yes. And that's validation. Sometimes we just need validation that our experience is others are having it. It's not, it's more rare, but it's not unique. That there's other people that relate to this as well. So share in a comment which ones you related to out of those 10. And that doesn't mean you don't have stuff to heal. Sorry. Regardless of whatever soul status you have, you got human wounding. And that's where the Carol Tuttle Healing Center is such a gem to help declutter the baggage you carry so you can truly show up and live your mission and purpose, because the purpose of knowing this is to help you make a difference here on the planet for the better. The planet is going through a major shift to a higher vibration, and there are going to be a lot of people that need now. It's kind of like, I don't know how to live in this higher energy. And we need to be the teachers and guides to those that are learning this new landscape of vibrational experience. So go to the Healing Center, caroltuttle.com/quiz. You'll take a quick quiz that will point out to you where you're stuck. You take the quiz and you'll get your quiz results without having to offer any personal information. There's 16 questions to find out where you're stuck and help you start moving forward. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing this video with someone you think would be supported by it. We'll see you next week.